Goose meat is just horrible tasting in my personal opinion. It's got a lot of game flavor and I'm just really not a fan of just eating it essentially straight off the goose. But my favorite thing to do with geese is make jerky. This past weekend I was at Foul Feathers Hunt Club. We shot a ton of geese and so I was able to bring some back home and we are going to make some goose jerky out of this nice geese that we have. I've already frozen it. It was like a week ago that we did it, which makes it better because it's much easier to cut. So we're gonna get started. All right, so step one is separating the geese out into cuttable chunks. The thing I hate the most of when I'm cutting the jerky and preparing it is that you can never get it even, because if you just use a knife and you cut along the meat, if you press wrong on one part or another, it ends to be wavy and some of it gets more cooked than other. It just sucks. So Hi Mountain Seasoning came out with the jerky board. They had a wooden one. I mean, it worked, but this is just so much better. I already cleaned the meat off and I cut off the major fat pieces. This goose in particular was shot in the breast, and so some of the meat looks really dark and has a lot of blood in it. So I'm actually gonna cut those pieces out after I've sliced the jerky. So you just take our breast, all right, lay it right down on there. Just lay the knife right on there, just like that. And slice through, and we got ourselves a nice piece of jerky right there. Oh, I can't wait. Look at that. Oh, delicious. So this press board makes it so that it has even distribution across the entire thing the whole time. That's how you make sure that it's not wavy and it cooks evenly. So now we just gotta cut all this up and then we'll move on to seasoning. And just like that, in about 5 minutes, I went from 4 goose breasts to perfectly sliced jerky. Awesome. So we have about 4 pounds of meat here. And so we're gonna use 2 tablespoons of our seasoning. And then we're gonna use 2 tablespoons and 1 teaspoon of our cure. We're gonna mix it together and then put it into a bowl. And while we pat the meat dry and then put it into the bowl, we're gonna be seasoning it along the way. Throw it in the fridge for 24 hours and then you'll be good to go.
Throw that bad boy right in there and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, it has been 24 hours. Got all the seasoning soaked into the meat. Now I have our trays extended out here on the counter. Got my oven set to 200 degrees. You don't wanna go any hotter than that. We're gonna be cooking this for an hour to an hour and a half. Hour and 15 minutes is usually the sweet spot. For thicker pieces, you might have to go up to 2 hours. Check it often, taste it often. What else? Don't use anything metallic. When you're mixing this and when you're using this, plastic and glass are your friend. The way that the seasonings are, they can kind of corrode at the metallic pieces, then it starts to get into your meat. It just doesn't taste good. Doesn't taste good. We're gonna set the goose out on these racks now, plop them into the oven, and start our timer. And then the final key to this whole thing is make sure that the oven is cracked so air can flow in and out. Turned out pretty good. The thicker pieces obviously had to stay in a little bit longer. Really, you can tell if they're done by just how firm you press it. And really, that's all personal preference. Like this piece, I think cooked a little bit long because it's a little bit crumbly and it can break apart super easy. But I still really like that crumbly piece to eat, so. Anyway, I think it was a success. I'm excited about this new jerky board and good stuff.